In 1966, huge floods raised awareness around the globe about the difficult and complex task of safeguarding Venice. Since then, the entire world seeks to answer the question of how to save this precious and unique World Heritage Site. Much money was spent. Many congresses were organized. Many reports were written, and numerous works and restorations were realized, especially for the Italian public authorities and the Association of International Private Committees. Alas, in spite of all these efforts, 50 years later, the situation has further deteriorated. Climate change and the strong tourist pressure caused a serious threat to the survival of Venice. Today, we know with certainty that the sea level will continue to rise throughout this century. As for the tide of tourists coming to Venice, its level has already reached worrying proportions. The tourists are invading the city and they are alienating the city from its inhabitants. These alarming developments are happening in front of our eyes. What remains less visible for many people is the fact that Venice Lagoon is today facing the serious risk of dying. Yet, can we imagine Venice without its waters, without its lagoon? Are we sufficiently conscious of the fact that without the lagoon, Venice cannot exist? Venice was born like Venus, from the waters. It has risen like a precious pearl created by the shell of its lagoon. This lagoon does not only represent the origin and the past of the historic city, it is also a living creature which makes the city breathe and which is therefore indispensable for ensuring the future of Venice. Ever since the times of the Serenissima, the lagoon was treated as un organismo delicato, with a web of canals which bring purifying water from the sea to Venice, which is located at its heart. Today, too many people treat the lagoon as being a space with no special meaning. It has become a space for exploitation, for short-term economic interests. This lagoon is today crossed by gigantic cruisers which require the digging of new and very deep canals, two highways which cut through the lagoon. The lagoon is eroded by the waves caused by an intense flow of naval traffic which is out of proportion. As a consequence, it is increasingly connected with the sea. In this way, the lagoon is gradually losing its very special character as a shallow basin, rich in islands and in emerging strokes of land, and it is running the risk of becoming a large sea bay like any other, with a far-reaching negative impact of the ecosystem. For all these reasons, Europa Nostra has come to Venice today to ring the alarm bell and to remind the world that Venice cannot survive without its lagoon. Half a century since the huge floods which had provoked a solidarity movement across the entire world, the international public opinion needs once again to raise its voice and to launch the following appeal to the European, Italian, and Venetian governments, and also to political and business leaders. Please do not sacrifice the important but fragile living environment of the Lagoon of Venice. Instead, let us join forces to ensure a long life and preserve the beauty of the lagoon and of its Venus, Venezia.